Hello, I'm Giselle Gamby, host of the Intuitive Pull podcast and business and life coach. My coaching business has consistently brought in $500,000 in revenue for the past 10 years, not from any external strategy, but from being the intuitive entrepreneur. Having worked strategy first, as most people do, with little results, I know that authenticity is profitable, and the deeper you go, the greater your wealth always. And so this podcast is here for you if you desire more, deserve more, and are called into more in relation to your wellness and purpose, business and career, finances, relationships, and health. If you're stuck, feel like you've lost your mojo, and equally if you're doing really well, but you know that you and your life could be so much bigger, so much more purposeful, and so much more impactful. Join myself and my guests as we explore 2024's theme, Untapped Abundance. I love creating ripples, and so here's to creating even more ripples this year for this wonderful intuitive pull community. Welcome back, Intuitive Pull community. It's really exciting that I have Jennifer Mitchell or Jen Mitchell with me today. I have been looking forward to our conversation because I know that the listeners and the viewers now on YouTube are going to really enjoy this episode. So welcome, Jen. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Yay, yay.
And lovely to do it on YouTube too. That's a good one for you.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, I got with the program.
It'll be TikTok next.
Oh, God. So I was going to read your bio, but I felt it would be much more natural for you to share who you are and, a little bit about your background and who you are today. And then we're going to go in a lot deeper after your intro.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So for me, life is all about having impact and being of service in some way or form. And my real purpose in life is to magnify my own light and love and for people's around me, I guess. So over the last 25 years, I've worked in the corporate world and I've led really big transformation and strategy projects. And it was all about making sure it was for the people. So the project outcomes were of real benefit for people. But on the side, I had an unpaid side hustle. And from an early age, I could see dead people. They would come to my bedroom when I was a kid, a bit scary. And they would come to me to be guided by me to send them to the light, sort of like Sixth Sense or Ghost Whisperer. And they came to me from natural disasters or when graves had been exhumed from wars. And it's as though they hadn't found their resting place. I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe they died very suddenly. But yeah, I would send them to the light. I would just see groups of people and send them all to the light. I've mostly handed that over now to other light workers. And my gift has developed so that I receive messages for very much alive people. And these messages, usually from their past loved ones, clear the way for them to live in their life and to have more wealth and abundance in all ways, in their relationships, their work and finance and life. And most people want to know that their past loved ones are okay. Most people also want to know why their past loved ones did what they did or said what they said, which is often why they need these messages to clear their way, to clear the blocks and to clear the lineage and the generational side of things as well.
That's just enormous. And I know the process that you've been on. And before we got on the interview, I told you that last night was my daughter's 13th birthday. And after everybody had gone and had cleaned up, I had a shower, I went and sat on the couch and I heard these words and I just typed them into my phone, like, into notes, which is what I do when I receive things. And it was only this morning that I realized, oh, that's why I heard these words, because this is actually the theme and even the name of this particular episode. So the words that I typed into my phone last night were, when we outgrow our identity and don't even realize it until we do.
It's very true, isn't it?
No, I think that's just the most perfect encapsulation of your journey. And the until we realize, we don't even realize it until we do. I know for you has been quite recent. So last year you shared with me a theme. Can you speak to that theme, what that means, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my theme last year was impeccable, and impeccable in all ways. So having integrity about what I said I was going to do. And impeccable also meant a bit of fun. So I also had the theme of pigs fly, which, it's just a bit crazy silly. But it's like, well, anything can happen when you're in being impeccable. So it really made me examine, all right, I'm a bit tired of the hustle, the having to go find new projects to do, even as an employee, wanting to make change, but having the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. So therefore, I needed quite a large income to be brought in. And what all that meant in looking at what impeccable meant to me.
And it was quite the journey, because I would say that where you are right now, impeccable is where you are.
Yes.
You're in integrity with yourself. You've been honest with yourself. You're in absolute alignment with yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And it's been
And
quite the journey to get there, right?
it has been a very big journey. It's been an unboxing or climbing out of the corporate briefcase, or I think you said that recently, sort of like a decloaking and uncloaking of what my identity was. I was the corporate chick. I liked that identity. I did big jobs and I went to big corporate gigs and really enjoyed that type of thing. But it really wasn't who I was, speaking to dead people on the side.
I recently heard, well, actually, I'll say this, often on the podcast, we talk about shifts in perception, right? You have to have a shift in perception that's what precedes a breakthrough. Yeah. And recently I heard this expression, which I absolutely love and is perfect for our conversation today. It's also about a shift in identity.
Yes.
Isn't it? And you have had the most massive shift. So talk to us about the decloaking. Yeah, because when you landed in the place that you did recently, I literally saw in my mind's eye, and it's interesting, I don't know why the color red, but I see this red velvet, like in the olden days, like in the 1800s, those big cloaks that people put around them. That's the cloak that I've actually seen, like, literally fall off, and you walk away and it's left in the background. So what did it take? And actually, I'll add another piece to that question. Where let me find the words. Where did it trick you up? Well, where did it trick you up, and what did it take to finally let that big red velvet cloak of your identity be in your
All
path?
right. So probably 18 months ago, I decided I can do this under my own steam. Like I can do consulting and I can do executive coaching, and I discovered I could do mediumship work. So I thought, right, I'm clearing my identity and I'm getting out of being an employee doing projects and things like that. But I tripped myself up because I was still creating an identity of being a consultant doing projects, of being an executive coach, and then being a mediumship person. So it's like I had these three boxes that I was still really constrained in. Whereas now, whatever work comes is whatever work I do. And I'm really enjoying the mediumship work. So, and off the back of that, there'll be quite a bit of coaching because it's the lineage and the blocks that people want cleared. And it's also, well, what do they do now that, they feel so much more clearer and light? How do they actually change the way they do things and be in the world? Yeah, so It's much more ease and grace,
Mm.
whereas before it was still the hustle, even though I thought I'd got rid of the hustle.
Yeah, and we spoke and we said where you tripped yourself up was same shit, different rapper.
Yeah,
In crude
basically.
terms. In crude
Yes.
terms.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, we know without breaking confidentiality, can you tell us some stories, over the years of when you have seen things for alive people and what has happened for them?
Even working the corporate gig, I could get messages. So when I've always had great teams, but I've always had to develop the teams from scratch. So pull together teams for big projects. So I've prepared, if you like, board documents and board meetings and grown the team so that I've sort of seen into what needs to be done. I've created the right environment for it and then managed to create the right documents and also groomed the team, if you like. So help them clear their blocks so that they could present really well and really show who they were in front of the steering committees or the board meetings.
So you'd be getting these messages, but you wouldn't be actually saying to them, oh, by the way, your auntie's just come to me.
No. It was a bit more professional than that. Well, what I deemed professional at the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, talk about a superpower, far out.
Yeah. I can only use it for good, though. Like I couldn't manipulate or sway a board meeting if it saved me, but I could always make sure we presented in the best light. And that was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other stories you can tell us?
Even in coaching, some of the executives, although I may not have said, oh, great Auntie Mavis is sitting on your right shoulder and would like to tell you to pull your head in and stop having affairs and things like that. I would just basically say, what are the shiny objects that you are following right now? And we discuss them. And then it would begin to break down to see, they were bored, they were overwhelmed. And the self-awareness that would come out of that for these execs was incredible. Their whole behavior change around that, the whole valuing themselves was really important as part of that.
And how does it happen for you?
To be honest, I don't often get names, so I probably wouldn't get great unless they were very clear that their name had to come through. So how it happens is I get a feeling. I can kind of see the outline of a person. I know whether they're male or female and what lineage structure they come from. So, maternal, paternal, how many generations and things like that. And even if they're friends or work colleagues who have passed, I get that sort of information. And then I literally hear the message, or I not so much get a symbol, but often, I guess it's a symbol. I'd hear the music or the words to a song or something like that. That would be the trigger point, the piece of information. And you get real symbols, like you get diamonds and triangles. I don't get that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't get. Right. I get more ethereal messages.
Yeah. And
and
I don't connect with people that have gone so far.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, we had an event the other night up on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
And part of that was actually teaching the group. We had 36 people how to receive messages for themselves. And some of them actually receive messages. Some of them just receive like a touch on the shoulder or a pull of the hair, or they could smell smoke and things like that. Oh, so wow. Everybody can do it.
Wow. Well, you can tell me if it's not appropriate right now. Would it be appropriate to do some teaching here on the podcast?
Sure. It's a meditation, a fairly long meditation.
Right. Okay. No, it's not going to work.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just say it now. We have an event coming up.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
You might be doing that there?
Yes.
Yes.
I will be doing that there.
Yeah. So we have an event coming up online. We've decided to do it online because we can go, we can be international for the people that listen to this podcast or view it on YouTube right now. So I'll share the details in the show notes, but it will be the 5th of June, Sydney time, 5th of June at 6 p.m. And the event is called Leaning into the Mystery. Leaning into the Mystery. Do you actually whilst we're here, do you want to speak to anything about that event whilst we're here in this moment?
So in the event from the other night, or the
the event on the 5th of June.
Oh, right. Yes. So the type of things we'll be doing is we'll be doing readings. So if there's somebody that is supposed to be read for, their past loved ones will actually present themselves, and I'll be calling them forth. So it'll be very interesting to see how that happens online with, all of the different faces to connect to the right person. But, the right person will be connected with.
Yeah.
There'll be stories of how it actually works and how it clears blocks. And we will do a little learning session where they will get to learn how to do it for themselves and to see what comes up.
Nice one. And I'm actually connecting some dots now, because we're talking about, when we outgrow our identity and don't even realize it until we do. I wonder if that theme is going to carry over onto the 5th of June.
I think it may.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can feel it, right? I just that just then. Okay, so for the listeners and the viewers, actually I'm not going to speak to that. I'm going to ask you the question. What are the precursors from your experience now that you absolutely know that you had outgrown the identity of, the corporate chick, real and you were bloody powerful, successful corporate chick. What from your experience are the precursors to knowing, or the symptoms to knowing, actually, this is not who I am anymore? It was, and it was awesome when it was, but it's not now. What are the symptoms or the precursors to that?
There's a couple of things.
Yeah.
I ran projects. So projects have starts and finishes. And when you finished when I finish a project, there's always a project implementation review, PIR, in corporate speak. And you go right through the team, you go through the budget, you go through the whole project. And I'd begun doing that for myself. Okay, so I finished project X. What is it I want to do next? And I have to say, I wasn't 100% happy. I was on a treadmill and I was a little bit bored with life and the world and everything. It was time to make a big shift. The good thing with projects is you get that big shift every time, but that's external to me. And it was time to make some really big internal shifts and just own up to all the things that I wasn't owning up to and be more. It was the impeccable piece. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I might add to that, from my experience in myself and in observing other people, things aren't working anymore the way they used to work. What used to work for us doesn't work for us anymore. Definitely the boredom piece. Definitely when you want to move, things need to move, but they're not moving.
Very true. That's probably the key thing. And you keep pushing, but pushing doesn't help.
No, exactly. Exactly. And that's such a sign of misalignment, isn't it? Such a sign of misalignment.
Yes.
And in this context, misalignment to do with identity. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not that person anymore, and we are becoming somebody else. So in the becoming of who you are now, I love the word convergence. As you know, I love that word. So it's not like as if, that red cloak, yes, we leave that red cloak behind, but it's not as if all of who we are, or sorry, I should say all of who we were has disappeared and is no longer relevant. There are some aspects of that are completely relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say is relevant now to you in this version of yourself?
It's like a little pie chart. You've got the slices of pie.
Yes.
It's just that other pieces of the pie have got bigger and others have shrunk down. So
Oh,
that's the integration piece. It's not that you're getting rid of pieces or pushing more pieces in. It's just letting the expression of pieces come to the front, to the fore.
that's a really great, like I can actually see it in my mind's eye.
Mm.
And so, yeah, to the listeners and to the viewers, what I would love for this conversation to do is to start catalyzing for you, what are the pieces that are growing smaller? What are the pieces that are growing larger that want emphasis? That's really exciting. I like that conversation. I like that. I like that inquiry. Yeah.
It's not adding, because convergence could mean that you're adding more slices on top of the pie, which is really just more baggage in the end. So
Yeah.
the pie itself is already converged. It's just a case of working out which bits, really are front and center of life now. And
Yes.
that's what I really had to do.
Yes, exactly. And one of the things that I really love about you is that, when I think typically when people think of a medium, like whenever I think of a typical medium, I see purple velvet, small, musty, dark rooms, the crystal ball, quite out of touch with reality. Certainly, I don't see abundance. I don't see wealth. I see separation to society and not belonging in society. I'm quite curious. But with you, the thing that I so love about you is that you are a medium, and you've also got all this, you're savvy. You're savvy, you're in the world, you're of the world. The things that matter to you matter to other people. And with all your corporate background, I mean, your intellect is also supreme. So I love that combination.
Mm.
And I feel that combination, like you're a demonstration for other people as more people start to embrace their intuition, start to realize that the rational mind is not the only operating place for us, that we actually have a greater mind. And as that is becoming more
Mainstream.
mainstream, thanks for the word, that was the perfect word, because it is becoming more mainstream. It wasn't
It
20 years
is.
ago, it wasn't 10 years ago, but it is now, is that people have a demonstration in you that you can actually be quite normal.
Why,
Right?
thank you.
And like all the, you said you've got a beautiful lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you can also be this super connected person, whether it's you connect with dead people or whether you simply are connected intuitively, it doesn't matter, but they've got this demonstration in you. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's exactly right. It's not the stereotypes. It's like, when I say I see dead people, say, oh, is it really scary? Well, it's not like Hollywood, and it's not like, till you say the dark, musty room. It's just a normal way of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go to the theatre and I go to nice restaurants and drink red wine. It's all just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So the event that you did 2 nights ago in the Gold Coast, on the Gold Coast, I know you can't talk about specific experiences because when you've done readings for the people there, first of all, how many readings did you do?
About 15 readings.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
we had about 36 odd people and we did about 15 readings.
so
Yeah.
good. So good.
Yeah.
So I understand it's confidential. You can't talk about
Mm.
the specifics, but can you talk about what the experience was like for the people that you did the readings for?
It was very, very heartfelt.
Mm.
So, I mean, they're there because they want to find out something,
Mm.
usually that their past loved ones are happy, or, yeah, why why they made the choices they did in real life. So they were already curious, which is, that's why they come, which is fantastic for me. It makes it really easy. And there was a lot of emotion because it does bring up a lot. When you're hearing messages about why the person was, why they were like, or why they did what they did, it often takes them back to the live person, back to that situation. So it can bring up a lot of things that they haven't cleared. But it's also, at the end of it, there may be tears and emotion, but there's also smiles because they've actually relieved those dark thoughts or the anger, or they've actually allowed it to come up and know that they need to do more about it. Yeah.
You know, I've just realized that, so ridiculous that I said I don't connect to people that have passed. So ridiculous because I have for myself. I haven't for other people, but I have for myself. When I was about 25, I had just been divorced and I'd moved back home to mum and dad's home. They were in Europe. And I remember lying down and I saw a person's face above me, but I wasn't sleeping.
Mm.
And it was an angry face, but she was caressing my face. And I thought, is that my birth mother? But it
Ah.
wasn't my birth mother, but she led me to my birth mother.
Mm.
She was the housekeeper of my birth mother that really, really looked after her and loved her. And yeah,
Oh,
and then I found my
lovely.
birth mother that way. Yeah, so I just realized that.
Mm. Mm. But,
Yeah.
when you think about intuition
Mm,
and being centered and grounded to feel your gut, get messages, know which way to go, left or right, when you're traveling in Europe, say, that's
mm.
all gut feel and intuition. But that's also guidance. And who are your guides? They're your past loved ones, often, unless they're archangels and angels, which can also be your guides.
Wow.
So, yes, everybody's getting guidance from their past loved ones in some way, from their lineage.
I've never thought about that before.
Mm.
How you frame that. It's beautiful. It's like you've got your
It,
team with you.
absolutely, all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I'm now remembering actually other moments too, where yeah, the team of my dad would come through and
Mm.
send me off on a direction, like with my work, for example,
Yeah.
which was
And
really
you're very intuitive. Where do
mm.
you get your intuition from?
I've never thought of that. I've never thought of where I've got it from. I mean, I have I mean, my whole life changed thanks to connecting to my first son, Joshua,
Mm.
after he'd passed. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now had he not come through. My father absolutely led me into a cave that I feared, working with really, really powerful men,
Mm.
really masculine men, and created a whole lot of freedom for me there and a lot of freedom for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool to actually connect that. I hadn't, yeah,
Mm.
I wasn't as conscious of it until now. Mm,
Mm.
thanks.
Pleasure.
So I listened to an interview with you on another podcast, and the interviewer said, is there anybody around for her at the time? So I'm going to be indulgent and ask, is there anybody around here?
Your dad's around. Yeah. Your adopted dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. He's always with you.
Yeah.
And he's how you see symbols and you get very clear messages.
Mm.
He's probably going sprinkle, sprinkle,
Yeah,
and
right.
sprinkling them to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
right.
Mm. He's got so much love for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Ah. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I don't think so.
Mm. We might be complete
I think we may.
on that
Mm.
note.
Mm.
It feels like actually the feeling that I've
Actually,
got.
there is one thing. It's
Yeah,
just
go.
listen. Just listen.
Yeah, just listen. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like just that last piece, like again, the symbol that I've got in my mind is like a a trail, like like a shooting star. You know how you see the trail?
Mm.
I feel like there's a trail that's just happened for the listeners and the viewers. Like something's going to go off for the listeners and the viewers. They're going to make
Yes.
a connection, or they're opening up into a curiosity of some sort.
Mm.
Something has just happened.
Yes.
So that's pretty exciting.
Yes. And the message is it's always love. They're always in love at the moment. They're never in. Past loved ones don't stay angry. They may have been angry in real life or a bit stern and strict, but they're not like that in the spirit world. They're just love. Yeah. So listen to the love.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Wow, that was powerful. That last bit, I can literally, I feel like I can touch that tail. So 5th of June online at 6 o'clock for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So for 1.5 hours, you will be doing some live readings.
Yes.
But for those who want to stay on for 2 hours, there's an option to actually put your hand up and you will be read.
Yes.
Yes. So all details will be in the show notes. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing with you.
Ooh. It should be fun. Yes.
And in the meantime, if anybody wants to connect to Jen directly, I will have Jen's details in the show notes. And brilliant. I actually want to say, because the energy is really strong right now. So if you have been tapped, some people will be tapped, some people will be actually like shaken. Like I feel quite like shoved is not the right word. What's the word? Like taken hold of. Connect with Jen.
Thanks. Indeed.
Thanks, Jen.
Happy to do that with you. It was so nice. Thank you so much.
It was.
Yeah.
Love the energy at the end. Thank you. Thanks. Hey guys, if you love this podcast, I have 2 requests. Number 1, sign up to the newsletter, which you can find in the show notes. Sharing is one of my superpowers, and there is only so much that I can share through the medium of podcasting. And I have very big plans this year to be radically generous to you. So sign up to that newsletter where you will be able to receive a whole lot more that I trust will be super valuable to you. And number 2, I'm a massive referrer of the people I love to the people I love. Please share this episode or podcast with the people you love, and let's create some more breathtaking ripples of impact.